Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Supreme Court quashes contempt conviction of MP for Akwatia Ernest Yakumi and bars Koforidua High Court Judge Emmanuel Senyo Amedahe from sentencing the legislator. We'll bring you the latest from the court.
Debate about the petition pending before the Koforidua High Court, the Supreme Court said we should go back to that.
Also coming up, over 603,000 students sit for the Basic Education Certificate examination nationwide. We'll touch base with our reporters very shortly.
Must be zero tolerance for exam malpractices across the country.
And much later, hospitals record more bodies as nurses strike enters second week.
At the time, I am so pained to announce to you that immediately the leadership declared the strike, they left the country.
And we'll bring you the latest on this. Now let's start from here. And the Supreme Court has, in a majority decision of 4-1, quashed the contempt conviction of MP for Akwatia Ernest Yakumi and barred the Koforidua High Court Judge Emmanuel Senyo Amedahe from sentencing the legislator. The NPP MP filed a motion to quash the Koforidua High Court contempt ruling order against him on February 19, citing that the presiding judge erred in assuming jurisdiction for the parliamentary election petition for Akwatia. He averred that the Electoral Commission had not yet published the Gazette notification of the results of the Akwatia parliamentary election. Kwame Oredo is a lawyer for the MP. Let's listen to him and then we'll go to our court affairs correspondent to bring us the latest.
The debate about the petition pending before the Koforidua High Court, the Supreme Court said we should go back to that, but has prohibited the judge from sitting on that particular case. So yes, for that one we may go back. I mean, we leave it up to them. We believe that it has no merit, but if they will pursue it, it's their own cup of tea. But let me put it on record. Honorable Ernest Yakumi is as free as a bird, and he remains the elected, sworn-in member of the good people, member of parliament for the good people of Akwatia. Thank you.
And you heard Kwame Oredo, his lawyer for the Akwatia member of parliament, Ernest Yakumi. Let's speak to Lord Edwasari, who is our court affairs correspondent. Lord, if you can just tell us a bit more about how the judge decided to not just quash it, but to bar that judge from ever going ahead with such a thing.
Right, Beatrice, so you'd recall that in February this year, the NPP Member of Parliament for Akwatia, Ernest Kumi, he filed a motion at the Supreme Court praying the Apex Court to quash the contempt ruling which was issued against him by the Koforidua High Court, presided over by Justice Emmanuel Senyo Amedahe. Well, so let me quickly take you through the reliefs that he was seeking. Now, and even before that, the ground of that application was stemmed from the fact that, according to the Akwatia Member of Parliament, the High Court judge, which is Justice Amedahe, committed a jurisdictional error in assuming jurisdiction for the parliamentary election petition, which was filed by the NDC parliamentary candidate, Henry Boakye-Adong. So another ground was that he indicated that the High Court judge breached the rules of natural justice when he proceeded to hear and determine the contempt application. And despite the motion which was pending to set aside the contempt application. So let's run through the applications that he was taking. There were 6 of them. Now, The first one has to do with the declaration that the petition filed by Henry Boachiadon, who is the first interested party, on December 31st, in the absence of the Gazette notification of the parliamentary election results to which the election relates, is incompetent, as it did not properly invoke the jurisdiction of the High Court. And the second being a declaration that the contempt proceedings and the ruling dated February 19 be ordered to be void and of no effect. The third one being an order of certiorari by the court quashing the ruling of Justice Emmanuel Amadehe dated February 19. And then the fourth being another order quashing the ruling they delivered on the contempt application and the execution of the bench warrant issued by the court by Justice Emmanuel Amadehe. The fifth being a prohibition order against Justice Amadehe against the applicant, Ms. Yakumi, pending the hearing and examination of the suit. Now, in their ruling, the five-member panel of justices, presided over by Justice Gabriel Pwamang, indicated that the reliefs 1, 2, and 3 had been unanimously dismissed. And which is, I just run us through those reliefs.
Indeed.
And then for the 4 and 5, which has to do with quashing the contempt application and then prohibiting Justice Amadehe from sentencing Ns. Yakumi, was granted by a majority decision of 4-1 with Justice Gabriel Pwamang dissenting. Now, the full ruling of the court will be made available on the reasons of the court will be made available on July 7th. Beatrice.
And Lord, briefly, if you can tell us what this ruling mean in this ongoing legal battle.
Well, the first of it is that Ns. Yakumi will continue to serve as a member of parliament for Akwatia, in that the contempt conviction by the Florida High Court has been dismissed. And then also the High Court judge who granted the conviction has been barred from sentencing him again. Now, the first three reliefs, which you noticed had been dismissed by the Apex Court, means that the election petition filed by Henry Boachiadon still stands. So that substantive matter will continue to be heard at the Corporated High Court. So as it stands, Ns. Yakumi can go ahead and carry out his duty as an MP, whilst the parliamentary election petition is ongoing. The suit will still be ongoing. The hearing will continue at the Corporated High Court until the final determination of the matter. And which is, I need to add this to it, that during the deliberations and arguments in court, the NDC lawyer, or the lawyer for Henry Boachiadon, indicated that the Gazette notification that Henry Boachiadon, Ns. Yakumi had presented was forged. And so they indicated that the matter, they will take it up because it's going to be a criminal matter. So they forwarded it to the CID for further investigation of the matter. So as it stands now, Ns. Yakumi is substantive member of parliament for Akwatia. He will back in parliament to serve as the legislator representing his people. And then the judge hearing the matter has been barred from sentencing him as far as the contempt case is concerned.
Thank you very much, Lord Edwasari, Court Affairs correspondent. Now, personnel from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, with support from the National Security Secretariat, have conducted a coordinated raid on the offices of Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, SML. The operation, which took place on Tuesday, is part of an ongoing investigation into a controversial contract valued at over $500 million. The simultaneous raids were carried out at the company's offices in Osu and Tema under the authority of a court-issued search warrant. Sources familiar with the operation told 3 Business that the Special Prosecutor's Office is in the advanced stages of its probe and is focusing on retrieving electronic evidence from SML's servers. The SML contract is among a number of deals under scrutiny as the OSP investigates suspected financial irregularities linked to former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The Special Prosecutor recently declared Mr. Ofori-Atta a fugitive from justice, citing his failure to to respond to multiple summonses relating to his this and other transactions. Let's first hear the OSP as he announced the controversial $500 million deal before we speak to our analyst.
Contractual arrangements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and the Ghana Revenue Authority for the stated objective of the enhancement of revenue assurance in the downstream petroleum sector, upstream petroleum production, and minerals and metals resources value chain. 2. Termination of a distribution, loss reduction, and associated network improvement project contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited and Beijing Zhaochen Technology BXC. 3. Procurement of contractors and materials and activities and payments in respect of the National Cathedral project. 4. Activities and payments in respect of a contract awarded by the Ministry of Health, initially commenced by the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for purchases and after-sales service and maintenance of 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 305 CDI ambulances for the National Ambulance Service.
And you had the Special Prosecutor, Kisie Jabin. Let's speak to Mr. Richard Kumado. He is a fraud and security consultant. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome, Beatrice.
Now, the raid reportedly focused on retrieving electronic evidence. From your experience, how critical is digital forensics in building a successful corruption case in this context?
If you look at the SML contract, much of or many of the things they did were electronically done. And usually law enforcement searches will always lead to finding out additional documents to build up a dossier against the suspect, particularly when the prosecution has become an option on the table. I believe they are looking for those digitalized evidence to be built up, to be added as the crime evidence against Kenneth Oriata. And in that regard, that's reasons why they might want to raid his office or the offices of SMA for that matter.
All right. Moving forward, how do you expect, the OSP to conduct itself in such a way that it will not be accused of overstepping its boundaries, but really doing things within its context?
Now, I think there is lack of education. There has to be public education. I think he himself, the OSP himself, will have to engage more in public education, as he said at his vetting. I didn't see much of that one, and advocacy. Other than that, this particular case against Kenneth Oriata and the way it is going, it looks more like there has been a little bit of a confrontation and agitation against one another. I read somewhere he has been asked to hand over the Kenneth Oriata case to Yoko. If that is done, then it means that the Yoko guys will be the front one. Having said that, nothing stops all the investigative agencies to investigate a particular case at the same time or intermediately. So let's see the way it goes. But I think caution will be taken, and he will tread cautiously, following procedure, manners, personalities involved.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumoda, for speaking to us. And you heard there, Richard Kumado. He's a fraud and security consultant. Some 14 minutes past the hour of 12. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest on the start of BC. Don't go away.
Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
Freezer, get the abba. Adama for the abba. A freezer. Adama. What's the mention? Adama. Make him so, my sorry. Can you know? Obo Mwasia. I do fresh no be mienu miensa na say 9 after what we dey abase adama fo adwena kuafo ho hu say ye de aduro ba kope e be shifu ye bia high technology akofo freezer ba wenku a eno want obenya 15 latest no ahwiegum watia no ahwiegum o de basia fu ye bia ni o basia bio ekoti say obeti mo no na mu ye sure say o mention tasie Nemu asena for na anu a freezer umpa we na apade freezer
dosia ebe so doso amang amoni age
omuti na me wasika omuti na me di me nyina du ba so me dum bi adama with that adama no kuya adama you can't resist
ubenya adama West Africa for adwe bi we be biara ye ton kraye ho adwu afi kayo na kenkan enchoya ewo adure ho.
You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Now, the 2025 Basic Education Certificate Examination, BCE, has started today across the nation. In all, a total of 603,328, made up of 297,000 males and over 300,000 females are sitting the exams from today, the 11th of June to the 18th of June. Also, 20,000 schools plus will be taking part in the examination. Let's quickly run you through some more of the data and statistics given us by the education authorities as regards how many are taking part in this exams and indeed which regions. I'll read first of all the top 3 regions in terms of candidate numbers. The Ashanti region is topping with 119,354 candidates sitting this year's exams. It is followed closely by the Greater Accra region, which is 111,700 candidates, and then followed by the Central region, which has about 67,146. And just to let you know that in terms of logistics, participating schools are over 20,000, exactly 20,395. Exam centers, 2,237. Supervisors about 2,237, and invigilators over 21,000 of them. In terms of the last or the 3 regions that have the least numbers sitting for the exams, you have OT region with 11,967, followed by Northeast region, which has 9,243, and the least in terms of candidates sitting for this year's basic as in the BEC is about 6,809. Well, the Education Minister Haruna Idrisu told some of the centers. Let's listen to what he said when he was there.
There must be zero tolerance for exam malpractices across the country. And these young children represent the future and wealth of our country, and they need to grow with integrity. Let no one of them be associated with any exam malpractice. We also would want to encourage the West Africa Examination Council to be very timely with the delivery of exam papers and other logistics in order that the exam can start on time and end on time. This morning visit with the regional minister supported by the Director General have exposed us to what government must urgently be looking at. 1, the lighting system in the classroom, not good enough. And then the state of furniture in some of the schools, indeed in most of the schools, is in very deplorable state. Government will respond appropriately and timely to this request.
And you heard that the Education Minister Haruna Idrisu. In the Greater Accra region, Deputy Director General in charge of Management Services at the Ghana Education Service, GES, Professor Smile Gwavwa GC, said this year the government will not tolerate any form of malpractice.
Now we are here and we are also impressed about what is happening. The directors of education, all the district directors are moving around. We have representatives from the GES, from WAEC, from Ministry of Education around just to make sure that if there's any problem, we get it solved. So far, I can say confidently that so good. So we are moving around.
Have there been any challenges so far you've experienced in any of these schools?
From the 3 big centers that we have visited so far, no challenges at all. No challenges. Papers were delivered on time. As I said, I got to a place before 9 a.m. and by 8:45, the papers were delivered and everything. The students were ready and they started the exam exactly 9. Then quickly we moved to Accra High. Before we got there, they've started and we are here and they are writing.
And you had the Greater Accra Deputy Director General in charge of Management Services at the GES, Professor Smile Gavwa-Jise, speaking earlier to Judith Brown, my colleague who's been around some centers in Accra, and she joins us live on the phone. Judith, what more can you tell us from your rounds?
Right, and so Beatrice, I've been to the Nima cluster of schools where there are 2 centers, one for Kizito and the Nima cluster of schools itself. They're writing at that particular school, and there are about 400 students and over writing at that center. They're already done with their first paper. They're on their first break, and I mean, they're in a few minutes, they're entering the classrooms once again to continue with computing. Their first paper was social studies, and they seem very elated after writing papers. They believe that they've learned well enough. They're going to pass that exam. Most of them said it was an easy paper to write, and so definitely we'll see really what will be the outcome of that paper. But most of them are very confident. They're happy. They believe that with the look of this particular paper, that's the social studies paper, the others will go as smoothly as they wish for it to go. So basically, the students are just in high spirits as they're entering to write their next paper, which is computing. Beatrice.
Great to know. Thank you so much, Judith Brown. She's my colleague visiting some of the BC centers. Let's take you now to the Ablekuma North constituency, where the municipal chief executive, Kalamu Musa Adamu, has toured some centers in the municipality as well. Well, a total of 2,633 candidates are taking part in the examination, with males constituting about 1,237 and the rest being female in 12 centers. Some of the schools she toured include Odoko, McLean Basic School, Potential Skills Academy. Let's listen to what he said when he was there.
As you prepare to start your examination today, to move into your various classrooms, examination halls to start your papers, I wish you the very best of luck. May your hard work yield excellent results. Stay calm and believe in yourself. We are more than confident in you that this batch is going to make history in Ablekuma North. You are going to be the best ever candidates to give us the best results in Ablekuma North. We believe in you, and we hope you will not disappoint us. You are already winners.
Quite some inspirational, motivational speak by the MC for the Ablekuma North constituency, Kalamu, municipality rather, Kalamu Musa Adamu. Meanwhile, the Municipal Director of Education, Beatrice Adu, says there will be zero tolerance for examination malpractice.
We have invigilators and supervisors numbering 107. So I have 12 supervisors, 3 assistant supervisors, and then 92 invigilators who are manning all the centers. Now, in terms of support for the learners, exactly. So we have done subject interaction where we brought in examiners to take them through how to answer questions. After that, we had WAEC officials coming down to also interact with them the do's and the don'ts. We have also visited the individual schools, interact with the learners, encourage them, spoken to them about the essential more practices and all that. Then their teachers have also done a lot. Even up to this today, they continue to encourage them, be with them, and all that kind of things. Now, we have also, with the collaboration of the Directorate of Health, we also have nurses who are manning our centers. So we have 12 of them.
Let's pay attention now to some health issues and some disturbing news at the nurses front, because 3FM is learning that mortuaries across the country are now receiving an increased number of bodies due to the ongoing strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, the GRNMA. Now, mortuary workers are also threatening that if the strike continues, they may be forced to direct families to send bodies to police stations, as mortuary facilities may soon reach full capacity. Some major government hospitals and polyclinics in Accra have their outpatient department and emergency centers virtually empty due to the ongoing strike. The strike has entered its second week already. Now, this action, initiated by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, is to demand the implementation of the 2024 collective agreement, which included unpaid allowances and delayed postings. The nurses are specifically asking for the payment of a 13th month salary as well, fuel and medical allowance, rural incentive allowance, renewal of practicing license and uniforms. Meanwhile, the government has released a list of health facilities under the Christian Health Associations of Ghana. The Minister for Health, Kwabena Minta Akando, says it is not in his interest to engage retired nurses and midwives, but his hands are tied. And he said the government cannot engage them whilst they are on strike. That's talking about the Nurses and Midwives Association. Let's listen to Minta Akando as well, speaking earlier.
Yesterday, if you look at my engagement, any worker in this country, the right to go on demonstration. That law also says that we must obey rulings of court. Now, when this strike was declared, a roadmap was declared, to me, quickly, I called the leadership. I said, look, this route is not the best route. And therefore, let's call off the strike and then still continue to engage. So we find lasting solution to the challenge.
What did they say?
Now, they didn't. They proceeded with a strike. And then the Fair Wages and Salary Commission, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, and Labour Commission were all invited. At the time, I am so pained to announce to you that immediately the leadership declared the strike, they left the country. They were not available for engagement.
And you have the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Akando, and we'll bring you more as regards what the mortuary workers are saying in our subsequent bulletins. Log on to 3news.com for more news. My name is Beatrice Adu. Have a good afternoon.
FM. 3FM 92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Follow us on social media. Twitter at 3FM 92.7. Facebook at 3FM 92.7. And also on 3news.com.
begin a journey of Pan-Africanism and consciousness. It is your regular taxi driver with the urban blend and 3FM 92.7 in living stereo every day, Monday to Friday, from 12:30 p.m. till 3 p.m. This is the show everybody listens to, so your business will certainly do well here. My name, Black Rasta. I am the rootical, hairtical, Don Gargan, Mua Fire,
Atinga ya chika fankare, Azure ya chika fankare, Abama ta chika fankare.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
Get ready, Ghana. The road is calling. The wheels are spinning. It's the 3FM Tour du Ghana, happening Saturday, 21st June, 2025. From the heart of Accra to the border town of Aflao, we are paddling for the planet in a thrilling 192-kilometer ride across Ghana's scenic Eastern Corridor. Whether you're a scenic cyclist or a passionate paddle pusher, it's your moment to shine. Form your teams, grab your helmets, and race for glory in Ghana's biggest cycling showdown. Challenge your limits, conquer the distance, ride for sustainability, be part of history. To register, call 053-1100-927 or 053-2200-927. 3FM Tour du Ghana, powered by 3FM.
Sponsored by Malta Guinness, Fruteli, and Qua Naturals.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. I am Menu Afol. Coming up, Ghana's economy sees robust growth in Q1 of 2025, driven by services and agriculture.
The one real GDP represents a growth rate of 5.3%, up from 4.9% in the same period of 2024.
Also, National Petroleum Authority defends delay in energy sector levy implementation, stressing it will ensure smooth rollout.
I can say to the glory of God that at least by the 16th, COMAC members will be able to put their house and financial situations in order.
Plus, World Bank warns of downside risks to sub-Saharan Africa's growth outlook. We have details of these and others lined up for you. Please stay. Now let's get into the details. Ghana's economy demonstrated strong performance in the first quarter of 2025, expanding by a significant 5.3%. This marks an improvement from the 4.9% growth rate recorded same period of 2024, according to the latest data released by the Ghana Statistical Service. Government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu attributed this growth primarily to the robust expansion observed in both the services and agricultural sectors.
Nominal GDP for 2025 was 375.2 billion Ghana cedis, and this increased from the 2024 Q1 nominal GDP of 290.7 billion Ghana cedis. Non-oil nominal GDP, which is nominal GDP excluding oil and gas, was 364.3 billion Ghana cedis, up from 278.3 billion Ghana cedis in 2024 Q1. Real GDP for 2025 Q1, the GDP after we have taken the effect of inflation away, and that was 53.5 billion Ghana cedis, and this increased from the 2024 Q1 real GDP of 50.8 billion Ghana cedis. The 2025 Q1 real GDP represents a growth rate of 5.3%, up from 4.9% in the same period in 2024.
That was government statistician Dr. Hassan Idrisu there. Meanwhile, the World Bank has cautioned that the growth outlook for sub-Saharan Africa, including Ghana, is facing significant downside risks. According to the institution's June 2024 Global Prospects report, escalating global trade tensions could lead to weaker than projected global growth, posing challenges to the region's economic prospects. The following news desk report has more.
The report highlights that while the direct impact of increased U.S. trade barriers on sub-Saharan African economies may be limited, further trade fragmentation or a sharper slowdown in global growth could have considered adverse effects due to the region's dependence on commodity trade. A slowdown in China, for instance, would negatively impact demand for minerals and metals, affecting countries that rely heavily on these exports. Other downside risks identified by the World Bank include worsening political instability within the sub-region, particularly in East Africa and the Sahel, and the potential for increased debt servicing caused if global interest rates remain high. The institution warns that persistently high global interest rates could heighten the risk of government debt distress, undermining recent progress in fiscal consolidation. Conversely, the report notes that subsiding global trade tensions could benefit sub-Saharan African growth outlook through improved global economic activity, lower export tariffs, and stronger global investor appetites.
That was a 3 Business News Desk report. Now, the Bank of Ghana says more small and medium-skilled businesses in the country can now get loans without needing to own land or buildings, thanks to a special system called Collateral Registry. Speaking at an event to mark 15 years since the registry was set up, the first Deputy Governor, Dr. Zakari Mumuni, said the system has helped banks and lenders to know who owns what, making it easier and safer to give out loans. He added that the registry is opening doors for small business owners who used to be left out, allowing them to use things like stock and business tools to apply for credit.
Beyond supporting formal banking processes, the collateral has expanded the frontier of financial inclusion. Micro, small, medium-sized enterprises who often lack traditional forms of collateral can now use movable access like stock, receivables, and tools of trade to secure credit. This is a significant step towards democratizing finance in Ghana. And by unlocking access to credit for the underserved groups, the registry has contributed meaningfully to job creation, business resilience, and local economic growth. Our vision for the registry is ambitious. We are investing in advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence.
You heard the voice of First Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Zakari Mumuni. Away from that, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, has defended the decision to postpone the implementation of the energy sector levy, saying the move was necessary to ensure the smooth rollout of the policy. The 1 cedi levy was introduced by the government as part of efforts to addressing mounting debts in the country's energy sector. However, its original start date faced strong opposition from oil marketing companies who argued they had not been given enough time to prepare. Speaking at the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies 50 Week celebration, NPA Chief Executive Eddie Tamaklo said the authority remained committed to fostering a supportive environment for OMCs across the country.
There is a current concern which has to do with the 1 Ghana cedi per litre energy sector recovery levy. Parliament authorized this on the 3rd of June and has received presidential assent. The industry were up in arms. We need money. Justifications have been provided. But when the industry reached out and gave clear indications that the implementation framework would bring additional financial challenge to them, we saw wisdom in it and quickly called for a truce. I can say to the glory of God that at least by the 16th, COMAC members will be able to put their house and financial situations in order for a smooth implementation of the program.
Well, Mr. Tamaklu also called for a review of the law that established the NPA, describing it as outdated. He said the nearly 20-year-old legislation no longer reflects the current dynamics and trends in the petroleum downstream sector and must be updated to ensure regulatory efficiency.
Our regulatory agenda for the industry includes: we want to repeal the current act, which is almost 20 years. And we always say that the industry is always ahead of the regulator. So after 20 years of enactment, we need to sit down quietly and try and see if we can tweak the current NPA Act and see if we can make it a bit more progressive to meet the needs of our people 20 years down the line. We are rolling out rigorous management information system, upgrades and enforcement tools. We are scaling up the issues of local content and Ghanaian participation with certified training for stakeholders. We want to engage COMAC when the time is due.
And that was CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Eddie Tamaklu there. Now that's it for Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, kindly log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. I am Menu Afo. Stay tuned. Urban Blend is up next.
Accra gets busy.